Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the stream. James here, your host over on the Jackery channel. Now, for all of you others that are watching from our other social medias that we are live on, please come over to the Jackery channel, of course, on Amazon. Give them a follow, give them a live notification, click, and chat with us. Tonight, guys, we're going to be showing you a bunch of very cool products. Actually, a couple products I'm using tonight that we aren't showing, but I do have a couple power stations laying around here that's powering a whole bunch of stuff because I had some stuff that wasn't charged properly. That's my fault. But hey, I got the Jackery stations that can power those, so we're using them. With that, guys, we do have Lois in chat down there. So if you guys have any questions, she's definitely here to answer some of those questions that you guys may have. I believe Justin is probably around here a little bit. He may be bouncing back and forth, but you may see him as well. Now, with that, guys, we have a bunch of cool products at reasonably great discounts tonight. Starting off with, of course, the Jackery Explorer 100 Plus. Now, the Jackery Explorer 100 Plus, I'm going to tell you guys, is a 40% off tonight. It's like $89.99. Now, I do know that if I remember right earlier today on the Amazon page for the Jackery Explorer 100 Plus, there's a little green square down there that says you can get one free with qualifying purchases of certain products. You'll have to look at that yourself to see which products actually qualify for that, but it is there, so do know that you guys have to watch those Amazon pages for even special deals that are there. Now, with that, like I said, guys, we're going to start this off with the Jackery Explorer 100 Plus. This is a really cool little power station. This little power station is, of course, 99 watt hours of power, but can be taken on a plane. It is TSA approved. With that being said, guys, that means you guys can take it in your backpack, your purses, or whatever you really want, because it is also even small. Now, 2 pounds of weight is all this is going to weigh. It's actually quite light and very versatile. Now, with this, 99 watt hours of power, which comes out to about 31,000 milliamps, or 128 watts of connectability. Now, with this device, you're going to get a USB-C, the USB-C charging cable with that. That USB-C cable is a 100-watt pass-through. You're also going to get this DC to USB-C adapter port. Now, this adapter plug is going to be used for your solar panels. And, of course, right there, guys, Lois did share, of course, a whole bunch of discounts, coupon code, and some of those other better deals that you're going to see tonight with that as well. Amazon exclusives for you. Now with this, it's got, of course, 3 connection ports right there, 2 USB-C ports, 1 USB-A port. That USB-A port is 18 watts. Those 2 USB-C ports are 100 watts in and out. Now with this, it is light, portable, and acceptable to be carried wherever you really want to. It does have, of course, that nice display with the high contrast background. It's going to show you guys the battery level. It's also going to show you guys, of course, the charge and discharge of that product. Now with this, you can actually use this to power a Nintendo Switch for over 4.5 hours. If you really wanted to, connect a Nintendo Switch and a portable monitor and run it for about 3.5 hours as well. For those of you running the mini little notebooks and Chromebooks, you're going to get about 6 hours or more of runtime off that with this. For those of you that want to do like your iPhones, 6 or 7 times, depending on the battery size, you'll get those charges. Now with this, it is, of course, has their UL certifications of drop protection, has, of course, their flame retardant shell. It is a LiFePO4 battery cell, so it is LiFePO lithium-style batteries, which is actually kind of cool. Definitely really cool because you can actually add a solar panel, guys. This would pair great with like the Mini 40 or even the 100 solar panel for you. Now, what I really like is the actual size of this because it can fit in the palm of your hand. That means you can put it in a backpack and carry it pretty much everywhere you want without really realizing it's actually there because, I mean, this size is just on the nose perfect. Now, just connecting it up, you literally just connect the USB-C port in there and connect it up. Whatever plug you need to use through the USB-C or the USB-A port will plug into that and will run up to, of course, 100-watt connectability. Anything over that ain't going to really go there. Now with it, portable, perfect, and of course 40% off tonight. It's like $89.99. You can't go wrong with that. This is a beast of a little station. Now charging time, under 2 hours, you have it fully charged. You're good to go on a wall plug. If you're using a solar panel, it's going to take, of course, a little bit longer than that, but that's just the way it is. I mean, it's 100 watts max charge in and out through that USB-C port, so that's what you're going to get. So if you guys need a nice little portable little station, that'll do very, very well for all of you that needs one. Any questions about that, please ask. We are definitely here to answer. Now with that, I think we're going to be moving on to, of course, the 240. We're going to show you guys the original 240, then we're going to show you guys the 240 V2. The 240 original is actually a really cool little station that is, of course, acceptable with the fixed handle. Now with this, of course, is 240 watt hours of power, has one AC outlet. That one AC outlet can do 200 watts of pure sine wave connectability. It can actually go up to about 400 if you need. It does have, of course, two USB-A ports and a DC plug. Now that DC plug is an input plug, so that's where you're going to charge it through your wall plug or, of course, cigarette lighter or solar panel. Now you also have a DC 12 volt 10 amp cigarette lighter port. That's going to allow you to plug in, let's say, like a cigarette lighter adapter, air mattresses, or other pieces with this. This device does weigh approximately under 7 pounds. Now, it is a lithium-style battery, but not the LiFePO 4 cell technology with that. On the side, it actually has Cooling Technologies, bright orange design, has their beautiful logo on top, and that nice fixed handle. On the bottom, it has silicone pads. These pads are actually really great because it's not going to mar up any surfaces or anything that you set it on. Now with this, it's going to take you a little bit longer to charge this. It's going to be about 3.5 hours on the wall plug to fully charge this. Now that's because it's one of their original systems, so it has some of their older charging systems in it. That's not a bad deal though, because it's still a quick charge time. And there's Justin right there. So if you guys have questions, he's around too. Hello, how are you doing? What's a good product? All of the ones that we're showing tonight is actually really decent products to be used around the house. Now with it, if you guys want to charge it on a cigarette lighter plug, let's say you guys are going on a road trip and stuff, about 5 hours is what it's going to take for that. Now, if you have a 100 watt solar panel, it's going to take about 5.5 hours as well to do that on top. Runtime is actually decently done on this one. You're going to get about 24 phone charges with it if you need to, which is going to be perfectly well. For those of you that want to do like videography, like you want to set up a Keystone light. Now, I got Keystone lights, if you guys can see the glow on my hand, connected up to power stations right now. You're going to get a good runtime off of that. For those of you that want to run that little mini cooler, you'll get about 3 hours of runtime. 7 hours of runtime on your tablet. You might get 3 or 4 hours on certain laptops, depending on the laptop. For those of you that do a lot of photography and videography, and you guys are always charging your DSLR batteries, this is actually a triple pack for the Sony ZV-1. You're going to get about, I'm going to say, anywhere from 7 to 10, depending on the size of the battery, all right? It's really going to depend on the size of the battery. Now, yes, this is a smaller battery, so you'll probably get about 8 charges with this one. For those of you that have bigger batteries, it might be a little less. For those of you with even smaller ones, it might be a little more with that. This is a great piece. The original 240 is definitely worth getting. It's about 178 bucks. It's an amazing product that works perfectly well for the settings that you need it to work in. If you need something of this design, in this class, in this weight range, this is a great option. It's a really phenomenal option with that. So any questions about this one, please definitely ask. Because now I'm going to kind of show you guys the difference between this and the new one. I do have them set up backwards, so we're going to grab that. Now, this, of course, is the 240 V2. Now, of course, the housing is slightly, it looks a little bit bigger, right? It's not too much bigger, but that's because they changed a few things inside this. So both of these are beautiful little pieces. Now, the 240 V2 is actually only $1 more tonight. It's $179. Now, with that, you're going to get some other technologies. First and foremost, housing shell difference. It's a square housing, so you go from a fixed housing to a square housing with a handle that, of course, can be folded up. Now, with the 240 V2, it's got another couple cool things. First and foremost, it's got what's called Charge Shield 2.0. Charge Shield 2.0 means you can actually have this fully charged on a wall plug in 1 hour 1 hour charge time. That's all it's going to take with that. Now, with it, of course, it also changes a few other things. LifePo 4 cells. It also will work with an app, so it does have app access with this one. Now, another cool part is the AC outlet right here, the wall plug outlet that you can plug things into. Actually does 300 watts of pure sine wave power instead of the 200 watts. Now, with the you do get two USB-C ports. One's a 100-watt port, one's a 15-watt port. Then you have, of course, the 15-watt USB-A port and that cigarette lighter 12-volt 10 amp. Now, over here, you actually have the DC or the light bulb. Now, with this, though, if I actually turn this on, we'll power it up so you guys can see this. It's got the newer screen as well. The newer screen's a more high contrast screen that's going to allow you to see it a lot brighter and a lot easier with that. Now, of course, the flashlight's got just dual modes, standard, and of course, SOS pattern for you with that. This is a really cool one. 1 hour charge time, 256 watt hours of power. Now, that 256 watt hour power is going to mean you're going to probably get approximately 12 cell phone charges off of this. You'll be able to charge your 10-watt Bluetooth speaker for about 16 hours of runtime, right? So 16 hours of runtime on a 10-watt Bluetooth speaker, that's amazingly, phenomenally well done. With this, it's going to actually have about 3,000 full life battery charge cycles before it drops down to about 80% battery capacity. Now, remember, even at 80% battery, you're going to get more than 10 years of runtime off of this because that battery will still keep going. Now, here's a couple cool little tidbits. You can actually charge this through the USB-C port on the V2. That's going to be about 2 hours of charge time instead of the 1 hour on the wall plug. Now, if you have the 100-watt solar panel, about 3 hours is what it's going to take with that. But what I'm going to get at is this still only weighs approximately 8 pounds of weight. It is still very, very acceptable and can be carried anywhere. This is not an issue. To be able to carry this around and use it where you need it is actually kind of cool. Now, another cool part is all of these switches are individually switched, or these plugs have individually switches, so you can actually switch them on and off at will. But remember, the V2 works with the app, so you can actually do that on the phone and not have to worry about it. You can actually connect it up, turn them on as you go. Hey, Alan, how you doing? So that's actually really another cool piece that's been added into the newer version, the app. The app, of course, is completely free. You don't have to pay for it. It will work with the station. It'll actually show you guys the battery temperature as well. It's going to show you guys what the temperature is of the battery as it's charging, so you know what temperature and it's not overheating. Another cool thing is it's got what's called Intelligent Battery Management System. That battery management system will keep track of what the cells need to charge at. Will also keep track of what your devices need to charge at on top of that. Now, another cool thing about like LifePo 4 cells is guys, let's be honest. Cells need to be balanced. So they have balancers. The balancers are going to keep them all in line, so that way one is not getting overcharged or discharging quicker than the rest. That means one's not going to take out the rest of the bank. And to have that balancer in there, it's really cool. That's awesome to know, buddy. Long time no see, by the way. I'm glad you're doing well. So really cool little piece. And like I said, $179 tonight for this. This is an amazing piece. I love the new additions, the upgrades to this. It's a phenomenal product. V2 or the version 1 or version 2, both great options. One's $1 more than the other. You can't go wrong with either of them. They both have their places, and they both come with all the cabling you're going to need to run these. So any questions about the 240s, definitely ask. We're here to answer. Let me check up on chat. Hey, Darthwing. Hey, Bubberman. What's up, guys? Now, I believe we're going to be heading into the 300 range as well on top of this. Not sure why my carousel didn't move over there, but it will change now. The 300. So, the 300 is, of course, back to the original housing style with this, right? Now, the Jackery Explorer 300 is 293 watt hours of power. Actually has two AC outlets that do 300 watts of pure sine wave power, but can peak at 600. Now with this, it goes back to, of course, the fixed handle and their bright, beautiful Jackery logo. Now with that being said, this actually changes a little bit from the original 240 because it actually has a USB-C port Now, the USB-C port on this one is a 60-watt in and out port. You then have a USB-C quick charge port and a USB-A port as well on top of that, or two USB-A ports, one quick charge, one standard. Now you go back to, of course, the DC round plug. That's going to be your input of charging this through solar panel or not. You also have that 12-volt cigarette lighter plug on this on top of that. With it, like I said, 293 watt hours of power, but it's going to take you about 3.5 hours to fully charge this on a wall plug. If you want to drop that charge time down, you can actually charge this off the wall plug and that USB-C port, and it'll be fully charged in 2 hours. Now, again, for all of you that like to do trips and want to charge it in your car, maybe you guys are out in the woods or something, and you need to charge it. Plug it into your cigarette lighter plug. About 3.5 hours ish, or 3.75 of an hour is what it's going to take to charge in your car. But you're up and running. If you have a solar panel, about 4.5 hours, you're good to go with a 100-watt panel. Runtime on this is going to allow you to run, let's say, a Nintendo Switch for about 40 hours. Again, your DSLR batteries on those are about 17 times or more, depending on that battery. Phil, what's up, buddy? How you doing, man? If you're a drone user, guys, you're going to get 6 or so drone battery charges off of this, depending on the drones. Now, what I'm going to tell you is I attempted to charge a 3S battery from my RC car. And that 3S battery, of course, I only got I think it was like 3 of those off of this. It's a big battery. Let's be honest. Those 3S batteries that I have for my RC car are really big, really powerful. So you do have to do the math with that. There is an algorithm. I'm not sure, buddy. I'm not sure what's up with that. Now with this, still very light, 7 pounds, so it's a carryable. You guys can take this hunting, camping, do whatever you need. Now the one thing I have not mentioned about the 240 or the 300 yet so far is they do have drop protection, right? What I learned from that drop protection, because me being me, I accidentally dropped the 240 and the 300. I dropped them about 9 feet off of a shelf. Now, they took the fall. They did not get hurt. They still work perfectly fine and have no noises inside it. For that to happen from a 9-foot fall, I'm going to call that a win-win for me. Because sometimes, you guys, things happen and things get damaged. This did not, and you're good to go. I like that. Jackery and James. Hey, thanks, buddy. What's up, buddy? I appreciate that, man. There you go, Phil. Justin fixed it for you. So 300, guys, great option. Now, a couple other things you guys could do. Justin uses his 300 to do like keystone lighting. He uses it to run his Sony ZV-1. They have the technologies to do that. Now, because this is, of course, 293 watt hours of power, that means you guys can run a little flat screen TV for about 4.5 hours. That's going to be like your 32-inch to your 45-inch TVs. Now, yeah, so Justin actually uses for a CPAP machine. Now, we had somebody in chat about a week ago in here that said he ran his CPAP machine for over a night or so with that. I'm not sure what the wattage of his CPAP machine is, but that's actually kind of cool to be able to know you could get a full night's sleep on a CPAP machine with this. Now, I'm not going to say everybody's CPAP machine is going to run 7 to 8 hours. Some of us sleep more than that. But yeah, that's a really cool. So CPAP machines, yeah, most of them don't have a big draw, so you definitely are going to be able to have that. If your CPAP machine runs a little higher or you have to use an oxygen machine, it may not get as much runtime. But it's a great option. It's actually very, very cool. I've been trying to talk Justin into getting the 600 plus or the 1000 V2. I think those would do him a much more justice for what he does, and he would love it. It lasted a lot longer. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's actually kind of cool. Yeah, like house fans, man. Those 45-watt house fans definitely could be ran off this without a problem, but they do have, of course, a little bit. Yeah, so I'm right there with you, Alan. I actually have thunderstorms all week, so I'm like, hopefully power don't go out while we're streaming, but if not, we got enough stuff to run it, right? Let's just be honest. So 300, guys, great option for you. If you're looking for something like that, definitely check that out. Now, we're going to be moving into the 500 range. Now, I think I have the 500 right behind me, and I do. Let's see if I can grab that for you. Usually, I don't handle the 500. Usually, I have it on the table so you guys can see it. This is the 500. It's a step up from the 300. This gives you 518 watt hours of power. This will definitely allow you to sleep with your CPAP machine all night and then some. And that's actually kind of cool with that. Now, 518 watt hours of power still has that fixed handle, but it actually has a flashlight on the side with this one. Now, the flashlight on the side is just a single mode, or of course, if you hold it down, it goes into SOS pattern, so you can actually warn people that you're lost out in the woods or something. Now with this, it actually has 3 USB-A ports. Those are actually 5 volt 2.4 amps. So it's not like it's going to be your USB-C 100 watt ports, but it will charge your devices as you need. It actually has 3 DC plugs over here, cigarette lighter plug and 2 round plugs. You also have that DC input port as well. Now with this, of course, it does have that display. If I hit that, you guys can see it pops up. It's the older style display, but can still be very, very seen with this. The weight ratio of this is a little bit more than those other ones. It's about 13.25 pounds, but still very acceptable to be carried around while hiking, camping, or of course, quick emergencies. Now with this one though, it takes a little bit longer to charge, right guys? I'm going to be honest with you. About 5.5 to 6 hours is the charge rate on this device. I'm getting about 5.5 hours or less. But I have seen a few people that use them that took a little bit more, and that could be just the way they have them plugged in as well. The same charge rate on a car, though, which is actually kind of cool. To have the same rate in a car as your wall plug, that's a plus for me. Now, for those of you that want to use like a solar panel, you guys add 2 hours onto that, 7.5 hours. You don't have to pay your electric bill. That's kind of cool to be able to do that. Now, for those of you that want to run that flat screen TV, like that big one behind me, that's that TV back there, 7 hours of runtime, can't go wrong with that. The little mini cooler. Now, I'm finicky about the mini coolers because there's not one that's the same wattage with that being said. So you're going to get maybe up to 9 hours depending on the wattage of that mini cooler, all right, guys? Depending on if it's like a 45 watt mini cooler, that's going to be like your little camping coolers. It's not going to be like your mini fridge. It's going to be like your mini cooler, like, you know, little small ice boxes. 9 hours up to, right, guys? Some of those take a little more power, so do know that it just changes. For those of you that like to go rafting, like rafting's really a cool thing to do. Maybe you guys use like an inflatable paddleboard or inflatable rafts. Plug your air compressor into this, the little air compressors that run those. 8 hours of runtime off of that. That's actually a really amazing time. Now, for you like Justin that has brownouts, blackouts, or like Alan that had a blackout the other night, you definitely could plug a CPAP machine to this, or if you really wanted to, electric heated blanket during the cold and run that for about 4 hours with the electric blanket. That's decent runtime with this. Now, weight ratio is not bad. You guys can see me sit here, carry it, lift it up like a weight. It can actually be done. It's perfectly set. Beautiful coloring, of course, and that nice fixed handle and logo. And on the bottom, you have the silicone pads for you. The silicone pads are always there for a reason. Let's say you guys have to put it on the hood of your car. You don't want your hood of your car scratched, so it's got the silicone pads. It's not going to allow you to mar or damage up your surfaces, and I kind of like that idea. Now, with this, it's about $299. It's 40% off. That's a great price point. That's going to work perfectly well for a lot of people. It's not going to break your bank account. So definitely check out the 500. Now, with that being said, I haven't mentioned a few things. First and foremost, there's a banner that way down in that corner. That banner is rotating. It's rotating to show you guys some price points on some of those products that we're showing you guys tonight. With that being said, there's also a 5% coupon code down there for Amazon while we're live. That's going to give you another 5% off of a $1,000 purchase. So do make sure you guys use that code with that. Now, with that being said, we're going to move on to the 600 Plus. Now, the 600 Plus is an amazing product. It's a current product. The 600 Plus is one of their most newest products out there. Now, we're going to move over. We're actually going to swap camera views because the 600 Plus is on the screen right there. Now, that's a beautiful little product. Now, this is actually kind of cool. I like the 600 Plus. For one, it's got 632 watt hours of power, so it's a step up from the 300 and the 500. Now, where it really steps up is that new housing, of course, with that handle that folds up and moves. Plus, you get 2 AC outlets. Those AC outlets are actually going to allow you to do, I believe it's 800 watts of pure sine wave power, but can peak over that if you really need to. Now, another cool part is it's got 2 USB-C ports. One's a 100-watt port, the other's a 30-watt port. Now, you also have the 18-watt USB-A port and the flashlight on the front. You also have the 12-volt 10-amp plug, and it also works with the app. Now, the app means you can turn on these plugs on and off through the app if you really need to. So let's say you walked away from the house and you want to make sure you turned off the heater. You hit that app, you shut the plug off, and you're good to go. Now, it also gives you guys warning times that your battery's getting a little low. Also, you can set up run times as well with that. Now, another cool part is what's called Charge Shield 2.0. The Charge Shield 2.0 is the charging rate of this system. So they added that new Charge Shield 2.0, which gives you a 1-hour charge time with this one. That means, guys, you're up fully charged and running in 1 hour of time with a 100% battery. Now, with that 100% battery, you're going to be able to run a bunch of different technologies and different pieces with this, right? Because you do have more battery. That means you guys can run, let's say, your 60-watt car refrigerator or mini fridge for about 6 hours of runtime. For those of you that have the 8.4-watt camera batteries, that's going to be like your little 1500-watt battery. That's going to be about 20, up to about 27 charge times or charge cycles with those. So just depends on the one. For those of you that have that 10-watt Bluetooth speaker, about 30 to 36 hours runtime-ish, depending on the speaker. Now remember, most of those speakers are going to just be like, if you have running at max volume, it's going to draw the battery down a little more. Now, if you are in an emergency and you need a quick heat or you need to run your refrigerator, this can technically run a 520-watt double-door Kenwood or Samsung refrigerator. Whatever type of refrigerator you have, that double-door standard fridge is about 520 watts. You can get about an hour of runtime off of that. That means, guys, you can get that ice box back to cool so you don't have to worry about your stuff unfreezing or getting too warm. For those of you that want to run that flat screen, right, guys, 8 hours or so time with that. If you want to do an outdoor movie night, 5 hours with that projector. It's a great runtime with that. Or if you really need the house fan, guys, about 10 hours, 45-watt draw house fan, right? So you have that. It's the charge time, though. That 1 hour charge time and only 16 pounds is crazy. That is a crazy thing to think that you have 16 pounds. Now, for the actual device itself, it's like $399. But if you want to get it with, of course, the 100-watt solar panel, it is actually $499. Now, that 100-watt solar panel, I'm going to show you guys that. The 100-watt solar panel that comes with that kit is actually this one. So you get this beautiful 100-watt solar panel. Now, yes, the image on Amazon shows you guys the other one, but this is the one I'm told that comes with it. It actually has, of course, the newer kickstands on it, which is actually kind of cool. Nice, bright Jackery logo. Of course, has these little clasps that latch all the way around. It has a nice little carrying handle. This allows for you to carry it very, very easy. Now, it is what's considered a tri-fold design, so you're going to fold it out. You're going to be greeted with, of course, your first 2 panels. Now, remember, tri-fold design means it's tri-fold. The best part is it is actually a quad panel. So you have 4 panels. 4 very large panels. It's going to grab 100 watts of power at 18 volts of charge rate. So you're going to be perfectly set with this. Now remember, like I said, 632 watt hours of power, LiFePO 4 cell, 1 hour charge rate on the wall plug. But if you have this solar panel, you are up and running with no problem without having to charge it in. The solar panel is fully waterproof and water resistant in harsh and wet weather, so you are good to go. Monocrystalline solar cells, guys. If it gets dirty, wash it off with the hose and you're good to go. Great product, great price point. Now, Justin, this is the one I recommend to you. Get the 600 plus. You're going to love it. That's nice sized, perfectly set for what you need, Justin. Now, if you really want to, guys, we're going to move up into the bigger systems. Now, we're going to bounce up into the 1000 range. Now, we're going to start off with, of course, the original 1000, then we're going to move into the 1000 V2. You guys are going to see the difference between the two. You're also going to see some of the technologies in both of them. They both have a great price point, and they both will work perfectly well for a lot of people. Now, the original 1000 is called the Explorer 1000. Now, it is 1002 watt hours of power. If I bounce over here, you guys are going to be greeted with, of course, it up on top of that stack, way up yonder. Now, we can move, of course, up a little higher and bring you guys in with this. Let's bring you guys all the way in if I can. Let's see. We're maxed on, of course, zoomability, but there you guys are. That's the 1000, 1002 watt hours of power. Has 3 AC outlets. Those 3 AC outlets are going to do 1000 watts of pure sine wave power, but can peak over that. Now with this, you also have 2 USB-C ports, 2 USB-A ports, and that 12-volt cigarette lighter plug. Now on top, it's got what's called an Anderson clip, that red and black plug. Now if I get up and kind of walk over here, hopefully my voice don't drop out too much, but this is your Anderson plug. This Anderson plug is what you're going to plug your solar panels into. It actually has a clip and, of course, will allow for up to 2 solar panels with that Anderson plug. Now, just like the 500, it actually has a flashlight on the side that you guys can actually hit. It'll come on, of course, with that, and it'll come off. It has a larger cooling area and still has, of course, the silicone pad and that beautiful handle. Now, with that being said, your charge time on this is a little bit more, right? It is a bigger system, so it does take a little bit more. 5 hours, though. So it's actually a half an hour less of the 500. Now, it takes longer, though, on a cigarette car lighter plug, you guys. 11 and a half hours to charge it in your car. For those of you that have 2 of the 100-watt solar panels on the 1000, guys, 2 of those, about 6 hours, you're good to go. That's actually kind of cool. Now, where this stands out, though, is the capacity of the 1002 watt hours of power means you guys could technically run a window AC off of this if you had to. So, I mean, you guys could definitely get a little chill done in cooling as you go. For those of you that want to have or in a blackout, brownout, or natural disaster, and you want to keep somebody warm, plug an electric blanket in this, run it for about 11 hours. Now, if you want to run that light on the side, that little flashlight, right? That flashlight could run for about 65 hours off of this device. J-Lo, good evening. How are you doing? Now, we're going to get into it, right? Like I said, it is normally like $999. It's $499 tonight. It's a great price point. But you could run a flat screen TV for 9 hours. You could run an electric griddle. You could run, of course, CPAP machines all night, probably for a couple nights. You guys could do an oxygen machine. You guys could do house lamps. You can do pretty much whatever you really needed to on this with that. Now, it does weigh a little bit more, though, guys. It is literally 22 pounds. So I'm not going to say this is going to be, oh, I'm taking this one camping and holding it in my hand all day. You aren't going to do that. You may have to set it up to stroll it with someone else, but, some of us could carry it. But that's definitely not meant for, I'm going to pack it out in my hand all day. This is great for emergencies, outdoor camping, and stuff like that. With it, it still has, of course, the Class 9 drop protection, the UL certifications, but is about 7 decibels of sound. So it is ultra quiet. You don't have to worry about it making a lot of noise. Now, like I said, the original version is about 11 inches tall by 13 inches long by 9 inches wide. It's not that big. It's still it's a little bit bigger than some of the others, but not that big. Definitely has its place and will work out well for a lot of you. But if you really want to, this is where it's going to get kind of cool. They redesigned it. So they now have what's called the 1000 V2. That is version 2. Now the 1000 V2, of course, I do have down here on the table. So if we bounce down, we bounce down on the table here. You guys are going to see it over here. Now, I'm not really sure why it looks so dark. But right there is the 1000 V2. Now, the 1000 V2, of course, is their newest design with this. Now, with that being said, you still have 3 AC outlets, but they will actually do 1500 watts of pure sine wave connectability. Now, moving from the 1002 watt hours of power, this has got 1070 watt hours of power. Now, just like the V2 on this, the 240 and, of course, the 600 plus, this can work with the app. That means you guys can actually run the device off of the app to turn on all of these plugs. Now, you do have two USB-C ports. One's a 100 watt in and out port, one's a 30 watt port. You also have the 18 watt USB-A port. You still have your 12 volt 10 amp plug, but with it, you have, of course, that Charge Shield 2.0. That Charge Shield 2.0 is going to give you guys a really, really good charge rate with that. At 1 hour, you're fully charged and up and running. So you move from 5 hours of charge time to 1 hour. You're fully charged on a wall plug with that. Now, if you want to, though, in the app, you can actually change it to what's called quiet charging mode, which will go back to that 5-hour charge time. But it's a lot quieter. It's about 22 decibels instead of like the 30 plus decibels of fan charging, right? If you want to use that USB-C port, guys, it's a little over an hour and a half to fully charge on a USB-C port. For those of you that have, let's say, 2 of the Solar Saga 200 panels, 3 hours fully charged, you're good to go. Running devices is where it's going to be cool because you guys can run projectors, you guys can run heaters, you could run a window AC off of this. You could do pretty much whatever you really needed to. Bluetooth speaker, about 50 hours or more of runtime, right? Your drones, of course, and everything else in between, you can do that. For those of you that want to do a heated blanket over 12 hours, your electric grills, your coffee makers, it's going to be perfect for every source that you could think of, including 10 hours of your TV time. For those of you that want to use like a orbital sander or a hand drill of the devices, about 2 hours. Now, for those of you that do have to have your mini cooler while you're camping, 14 hours it's going to run off of this without an issue. By itself, it's $629. That's an amazing price point. But we also have it with, of course, the solar panel. And that's going to be kind of cool because it does come with the 200 watt solar panel at $899. So you have the option by itself or the option with the solar panel. Great price points, awesome options, perfectly well set. That's a very large solar panel. Now remember, I said if you have 2 of those, 3 hours is all it's going to take to fully charge that. With one of those, it's going to actually up that charge rate of about 5 hours or so with it, but still perfectly excellent charge time. JLo, how's your night going? Now, for those of you that want to go up into a larger system, we can actually talk about the 2000 Pro. Now, the 2000 Pro is actually on the opposite side of the table, and it's a little bit stacked up over here. We're going to zoom back a little because I do have some stuff over it. I'm not sure why my camera's moving. Oh, sorry about that. My auto tracking hit this. Now, of course, this is the 2000 Pro. Now, we're talking about the 2000 Pro. It's a kit. This is going to come with the solar panel and the station. It's actually normally over $2,400. It's $1,299 tonight. It's 46% off of the station and the solar panel. Now, with that, 2,160 watt hours of power. Has 3 AC outlets that do 2,200 watts of pure sine wave connectability. Has, of course, the 12 volt 10 amp cigarette lighter plug. And has, of course, a handle. Now, this station weighs approximately 30 plus pounds, so do know it has a little bit of weight for you. With it, though, it's got 2 USB-C ports at 100 watts, 2 USB-A ports at 18 watts, and, of course, has a flashlight that I can turn on multiple modes with, dual brightnesses, and SOS pattern. With this, though, it actually has a nice high contrast screen. It's going to show you guys the battery charge rate right there. It's actually showing about 40%. It's going to show you everything else in between. Now, with it, though, 2,160 watt hours of power means you can run 1,150 watt window AC for approximately 2 hours of runtime. Your double door refrigerator, of course, you're going to get over 3 hours of runtime with that, depending on which refrigerator you're doing. 2 hour charge time. That's all it's going to take. 2 hours on a wall plug. Sheila, how are you doing? So 2 hours on a wall plug, guys. You're up, you're running. You don't have to worry about it. For those of you that are charging it on, of course, 2, I think it's like, trying to remember how many solar panels it is. I think if you have 2 of those, it's going to be like 6 hours or something like that of charge time, of course, with it. Now, if you want to, though, you guys can run a microwave off of this. You guys can run a hot plate, electric grills, blenders, movie projectors, movie projector screens. If you really wanted to, You guys could run your Christmas decorations off of this, your inflatables, your lights, your Christmas trees, whatever you really needed to. Let's say you woke up Christmas morning and the Christmas tree won't light up because you have no power, but you want the kids to be excited and see it. Plug in the Christmas lights, plug in the decorations, the trees, and everything off of the station, and you're good to go. It's a great idea. Now, remember, the kit and the solar panel does weigh about 62 pounds all together. And at a $12.99 price point, 46% off. Remember, though, there is a little code right there, that 5% code that we have for you tonight. Get an extra 5% off. That's a good price point, perfectly well set, and a beautiful station. Sheila, how are you doing tonight? How is Sheila doing? Now, with that, guys, I do see one discrepancy in our carousels. Now, for those of you on Jackery, you guys are seeing the correct product placement. For those of you on the other channel that's watching us, guys, it's supposed to be just the station, not the station with the panel. So, just letting you guys know. Now, we're moving on to their largest standalone system. We're talking about the 3000 Pro. Now, the 3000 Pro is right back there. It actually has some RGB lighting connected to it. It's a beautiful piece of technology. Now, the 3000 Pro by itself is like 11% off. It's like $18.99. Now, for those of you on the other channel that see it with the solar panels, it's about 30% off. So you guys are seeing about $27.99, right? So do know there is a little bit of bounce there. Now, with this is actually 3,024 watt hours of power. It actually has 5 AC outlets. That is, of course, your standard 3-prong house plugs. Now, 4 of those are standard. Your 5th one's going to run like your Tigger MIG welders, your old school washers and dryers, and other pieces, even like your EV car chargers. It's actually kind of cool. Those are 3,000 watts of pure sine wave power, but can peak at 6,000 watts. With this, it is a 2.5 hour charge time. It's all it's going to take on a wall plug to fully charge this device. Now, if you have 6 of the Solar Saga 200 panels, 3.5 hours is all it's going to take. You're up and running, and you're not paying your electric bill. You don't have to worry about it because this will charge in, of course, 3.5 hours. You're running. You're good to go. Now, with the station alone, it is approximately 63.5 to 64 pounds. Now, with that being said, though, that 60-watt TV can be ran for like 35 hours. That 1150 watt or 10,000 BTU window AC can be ran for 3 hours of runtime. For Sheila, you could run your fridge for about 5 hours if you really needed to. Now, with it, of course, guys, it is a different design. It's a larger piece. It actually works like a suitcase. It's got 3-inch large wheels. It's got a telescopic handle, which looks like that. You can tip it over and roll it around. That handle is aluminum, of course. That handle does fold up back in the case. Now, it still has, of course, 2 bright, big orange handles that you can lift it up if you have to, but it's pretty heavy, so most of us will not be lifting that. We'll be just rolling it around. But if you do need to put it in, let's say, your RV, your toy hauler, or you have to put it in your shop or somewhere in the back of a truck for moving, they give you the handles for that. Now, with it, it can work into -4 degrees Fahrenheit temperatures, -20 degrees Celsius if you guys need to with that. Now, your charge times on this device, of course, like I said, 2.5 hours, but you can run more stuff than what I was mentioning. You could run, let's say, your 800-watt kitchen stove for about 3 hours of runtime. Or those of you that have the larger toaster ovens, about 4 hours. If you really needed to, microwave about 2.5 hours. Microwaves are power hungry, though. Now, off the grid living, guys, that's going to be like, let's say, your space heater inverter heaters, guys. 350 watts, about 6 hours of runtime. For those of you that want to do your shop tools, your welding machine will be about 5,800 to 6,000 watts, and it can do that. You'll get a little over an hour runtime with a welding machine of that sort. For those of you that have electric wells, your electric goes out, you need your well pump to run. 60-watt well pump will run for about 32 hours. That means you have fresh water coming up and out. For those of you on the farm that have electric well pumps that are feeding like your horses and stuff, and the power goes out there, plug it into one of these, then again, 32 hours of runtime. your 600-watt angle grinder or your cutting disc. 6 hours of runtime with that as well. Electric saws, drills, of course, chainsaws, guys. Everything can be ran off of this with a pretty functional reason with that. Now, it is considered an emergency power supply, but it does take about 20 milliseconds to switch over with that being said. Now, note, the AC input output power is about 1440 watts under bypass mode. So that does have to be in bypass mode for that to work. And your devices will still run and work off of that, which is kind of cool. Now, again, if you want to plug it in and charge it on your cigarette car lighter, about 27 hours is what it's going to take. Now, it has 12 forms of protection, multiple temperature sensors. With this, of course, UL fireproof, shockproof casing. Now, with the 12 forms of protection, that's going to be like your battery management, it's going to be your short circuitries, and everything else in this. It is a beautiful piece that's going to do perfectly well for you if you need one this size. Now, like I said, it's their largest standalone system that's going to do perfectly well for pretty much anybody that's in the market for one, right? Now, with that, guys, we're going to move over to the 300 Plus system. Now, the 300 Plus is this little portable piece. It goes back down, of course, in size. 300 Plus is, of course, 288 watt-hours of power. By itself, weighs about 5 pounds. It has one AC outlet at 300 watts, and it has two USB-C ports. One's a 100-watt port, one's an ATM, if I remember right. I don't want to misspeak. I believe this one's the 15-watt USB-C port. And then you, of course, have the 15-watt max USB-A port. Now, your guys' casing may be a little different than your one. Mine shows the 100 watts right in the middle. They changed that, of course, on the newer ones. So it shows the 15 watts on the other one with that. Now, it has the 12-volt cigarette lighter plug and, of course, has that nice little flashlight. Now, with this being said, this is actually going to be able to be charged under an hour and a half on a wall plug. If you use that 100-watt USB-C in and out port, a little over 2.5 hours. For those of you that want to use a solar panel, about 7.5 hours, and you can do that. The station by itself is $236, of course, with that being said. You'll be able to run your house fan for about 4.5 hours, your Nintendo Switch for over 40 hours, and all of the other cool pieces. But with that being said, I definitely recommend the 300 Plus with the solar panel. Now, the solar panel we're talking about is, of course, the 40 Mini. Now, you're going to get this and the 40-watt mini solar panel. That is this beautiful little solar panel right here. This is a notebook-sized solar panel. Now, the price point of this and the solar panel is about $279. It's an amazing deal. Of course, a magnetic clasp, trifold design, of course, has 4 panels, and it's going to get you guys that charge rate that you need as you need. So, great little options with the 300 Plus for you guys by itself, and of course, with this notebook-sized panel. You guys can technically put both of these in your backpack and carry it without a problem. It is nice, light, and beautiful. So that, of course, is the 300 Plus and the Mini 40. Now, we're going to get back to this Mini 40 in a few, just with that being said. Now, with it, of course, we're going to move over into what I call modular systems, and we're going to start off with the 1000 Plus system. We're going to move over here. We're actually going to bounce up to, of course, that area right there, and we're going to move into that little station in the middle. Now, that is let's see if we can get that camera to go correctly. That's the 1000 Plus. Now, the 1000 Plus is an amazing power station, guys. Now, the 1000 Plus power station is going to do you guys about 1264 watt-hours of power by itself. Now, the 1000 Plus can be charged in under 2 hours of charge time, works with the app, and does have multiple connection points. You have 3 AC outlets at 2000 watts of pure sine wave power, but can peak, of course, over that. You have 2 USB-C ports at 100 watts, of course, as well. You have 2 USB-A ports at 18 watts, and you have that lighting on top. Now, with that being said, the system by itself is 30% off tonight. It's like $839. Normally a $1,200 price tag on the system by itself. This system will allow you to run multiple pieces without a problem. Your window AC, that 1150 watt window AC, a little over an hour. You guys can run your house fridges. You guys can run pretty much everything you want under the sun with this piece. Now, with that being said, we also have in the carousel the 1000 plus and 2 solar panels. That kit's normally a $1,500 price tag. It's like 20% off. It's like $11.99. You're going to get the station and 2 of the Solar Saga 100 solar panels. So you guys have it up and charging and you're good to go. That's an amazing price point. Now, charging that at that charge rate, guys, with 2 of those panels, I'm going to get there. If you have 4 of those panels, right, 4.5 hours, you're good to go. 2 of those panels is going to be a little bit longer. It's not a big deal, but you have a little bit longer with that. It's just one of them things. It's a great price point for the station and, of course, the solar panels. What I'm going to tell you guys is get the 1000 plus kit. The 1000 plus kit comes with the battery. Because it's a modular system, you can add batteries to this. Now, that means you're going to go from the station to the station, a battery, and 2 solar panels. The battery, of course, is on the opposite side up top over there. Now, that means you go from 1200 watts to 2528 watt hours of power with the single battery at $1,600. Normally, it's over $2,000. Now, another cool part about this is because it is a modular system, you can actually add up to 3 batteries with this. That's going to give you guys a nice 5,056 watt hours power. 5 kilowatts of hour power is an amazing amount of power. With that being said, that battery on the other side does have a handle, can link up. It's going to work perfectly well for you. The runtime means you guys are going to double your runtime. You can run refrigerators, you guys can run coffee makers, you can run window ACs, you can run whatever you want with this. This is an amazing product. It's going to give you more power where you need it, as you need it, to support 1 to 3 days of off-the-grid living with off-the-grid activities, whether it be just movie projectors, heated blankets, or anything of the sort. 26 products with protections, class 10 UL protections, 62 forms inside of it, of course, and very sustainable. With that being said, depending on how many pieces you have, if you have all 3 batteries, you guys are going to be able to run a lot of cool stuff. Whether it be your smartphones, to your drones, to your camera gear, to your TVs, to your microwaves, whatever you want, you can do that. What I did with this is actually ran a whole bunch of inflatable decorations for Christmas and lighting and had fun with that. So with that, of course, I recommend getting the full kit. At a 24% off, you can't go wrong. Plus, there's that 5% coupon code. It's going to give you guys another 5% off with that. Phil, how you doing, buddy? How is Phil doing tonight? So any questions about any of those machines so far, please ask. We are definitely here to answer. If not, we're going to move back over to the table, of course, over here, and we're going to bounce over to that way, and it looks a little dark, and I'm not sure why my stuff looks dark. Now, with that, we're going to talk about the 2000 plus system, their largest modular system. Now, we're going to talk about the system by itself. It's about $1,299, normally a $2,200 price tag. It's 41% off by itself tonight. Now, with that being said, it is 2,042 watt hours of power. It weighs about 64 pounds. Has 3-inch large wheels that's going to allow you to roll it around with an aluminum telescopic handle. Now, just like the 3000 Pro, it's got 5 AC outlets. 4 of those are standard 3-prong. That 5th, of course, is going to be your larger style. With that being said, they do 3,000 watts of pure sine wave power, but can peak at 6,000 watts. Now, just like the 3000 Pro, you have 2 USB-C ports at 100 watts, 2 USB-A ports at 18 watts, of course. You also have that 12-volt cigarette lighter plug, and you have a beautiful large screen. Now, with it, you runs off the app. The app is going to allow you to turn on all these switches and off these switches. It's going to allow you to do everything you need with that. The 2,042 watt hours of power means you guys can run that window AC for about 2 hours of runtime if you wanted. Now, with it, 2-hour charge time is all it's going to take to fully charge this device on a wall outlet. If you want to, 25 hours in a car if you need. Now it's about 30 decibels of sound, and of course going to give you guys about 4,000 charge cycles over the next 10 years on this. Now you guys can run more pieces with this, of course, if you really wanted to. Your CPAP machine will be able to run about 150 hours or so. For those of you that want to run a movie projector night, you guys can do about 14 hours of movie projectors at a 100-watt movie projector. Of course, that welding machine, like we talked about a half an hour or so, you could run off of this. For those of you that want to run your inverter heater, about 19 hours with the inverter heater, your 50-watt air pump, about 20 hours of runtime. Other professional things like your water pump for your well, about 20 hours off that 60-watt pump. Your weed eater or lawnmower, about 2.25 hours. Now remember though, I said it's a modular system, so you can actually get the station and of course 2 of the solar panels at a great price point as well, with that being said. Now, that's going to bring you into about $1,899, so $1,899. It's going to be the station and 2 of the largest Solar Saga 200 panels. It's a great price point. It's about 42% off of that as well on top. But what we're going to talk about is the 4,000 kit. Now, the 4,000 kit is, of course, the power station, a battery, and 2 solar panels. So you're going to get the battery that's sitting right above it and the station together. You just doubled your runtime from 2,000 to 4,085 watt hours of power. That's crazy amount of power. Now remember, because you're over that 3,000 watts, you actually might, you technically unlock what's called, if I can, Residential Clean Energy Program. Each state has its own program. You'll have to sign up for it, see if you qualify. But you can get up to about a 30% tax credit with that, of course. Anything over 3,000 watts of power, that means you guys can do that. Now, and of course, the price point of this is about $2,699 for the battery, the station, and 2 of those solar panels. Now, with it, of course, we're going to talk about how much modular this really is. You can add up to 5 batteries total on the station. That's going to give you guys 12 kilowatts of hour power with 5 batteries. That's a lot of power. That's a lot of amazing power that's going to do perfectly well for you guys. Now, what I'm going to say, though, is you actually can link 2 of these stations together and add 10 batteries to have, of course, 24 kilowatts of hour power. That means you're running your whole homestead, your whole home for multiple days without an issue. Each one of these systems can run up to 6 solar panels by itself. Each one of the batteries can also have solar panels as well. So you have that, you're up, you're running, and you're going. At $26.99, that is your go-to, of course, guys. With that, that's your largest and best system. Very modular, very connectability, and very expandable with the batteries of the sort. So 2,000 plus 4,000 kit, I would recommend highly to you guys. Now with that, guys, we're going to be moving into the solar panel range of this night. We're going to start off with the Mini 40. Now the Mini 40 is of course completely compatible with all of the smaller stations. Now this is actually a $99 price tag tonight. The Mini 40 is actually a beautiful little piece that, of course, is fully waterproof and water resistant. Has this nice little clasp. Has, of course, the eye ringlets that are going to allow you to tie it down. When you pop this open, you're going to be greeted with the monocrystalline solar cells. That's going to give you guys a nice 23% conversion rate in converting light to power. Now with it, like I said, monocrystalline solar cells, perfectly set. That's going to grab that light as you need it to convert it. With it, it's a trifold design with, of course, quad panels. The size of this is actually kind of cool because it's under 3 pounds and it is, of course, very compact. It's the size of a notebook. You guys can put this in your backpack and you can take it with you as you need. This is a perfect solar panel for the 300 plus, the 300, the 240, and including up to about the 600 plus stations. Very compatible, very perfect, and very amazing piece. Right here, guys, the Mini 40, $99 price tag, definitely worth checking it. I'm almost ready for our power outage. Now with it, guys, we're also going to talk about the 100. Now this, of course, is their original Solar Saga 100 panel. Now, this panel is actually very cool. This is compatible with, of course, the 240 up to the 1500 watt solar stations. Now, with this, it's got, of course, larger kickstands. With it is a bifold design, so it is, of course, a dual panel. It has ETFE, a laminated handle, of course, for ease of carrying. On the back, it, of course, has this nice little pocket. This pocket does, of course, have a 9.5 foot cable. That 9.5 foot cable, of course, has dual connections. These are DC plugs. It's got, of course, one style, and you take it off. It's got another style depending on the station you have. Now, with it, of course, in there is also another little plug. That plug's got a USB-C port and a USB-A port. Now, that USB-C port and USB-A port means you guys can actually charge a phone, a tablet off of that plug without having the solar station. Now, with this, it is, of course, still monocrystalline solar cells and a larger design. This is going to grab about 100 watts of power at 18 volts. It is still fully waterproof and water resistant in harsh and wet weather. And it's going to do about 23.5% conversion rate even in low light settings. This is an amazing option. I love this panel. And now, you guys, as I move, you guys will see that light glaring off of it from all of my lighting. That's what it's going to do outside to convert that power where you need it as you need it. If you guys need right here, $209, it's like 30% off. This is a great price point for a solar panel. I'm running my laptop. Yeah, you can run all of that with that. Oh, most definitely. Now with it, of course, we're going to move over into, of course, this live video that I have setting up here. We're going to close that off, and we're going to talk about the 200 Solar Saga. Now, the 200 Solar Saga is their largest solar panel. Now, this is actually, of course, compatible with the 1500 all the way up to the 3000 Pro. Now, with it is IP68 water resistant or water rating in harsh and wet weather. You guys can even use this out in a dust storm. Just wash it off the hose and you're good to go. It does have, of course, a case. That case does have a pocket with it has the cabling. Now, this is a trifold design, but a quad panel. It's got 4 panels. It's got 3 legs, of course. It can be set up in under 20 seconds to be plugged in and running with that. Now, this one's actually going to give you guys about 24.5% conversion rate efficiency in converting that power to that light to power, right? With it, of course, you guys are going to see me grab the plug it in, and connect it to the 3000 Pro. Within 10 seconds of it being plugged in, it's getting about 153 watts an hour of power where it's sitting. That's quick. Now, of course, it'll keep climbing the longer you leave it out there, of course, or the sunnier it is. It's a really great piece right here. Now, price point. Normally $700. It's like $474 tonight. That's a 32% savings if my math is correct on it. So right there, that is a really amazing solar panel, perfectly well set, and it's going to do amazing things for all of you. Now, for those of you still on the Jackery side watching, we do have 3 other products in the carousel. I don't actually have those on hand, but I do want to mention them. Those are actually the carrying bags for the stations. We have the small, the medium, and the large carrying bag. Those bags are going to allow you to carry around like your 240s or carry around your 1000s and up. So they do have carrying bags for you as well. The medium size is about $59. The small size is about $44. And of course, the large is like $69. Perfectly well set. If you guys need a carrying bag for those systems, I definitely say, hey, check it out. You can't go wrong with that. Now with it, of course, guys, remember that banner shows you guys, of course, all the discounts that you can get. Also shows you guys that 5% clippable coupon for that $1,000 purchase that you're doing or more. With that, guys, any questions about any of the products that we did show you guys tonight, I'm here to answer before we go. You're running your laptop up again. That's pretty funny. Yeah, I'm kind of worried about the power in the next couple days, too, because we actually have some thunderstorms coming from the heat and everything. So I don't see any other questions. With that being said, guys, I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. I had a lot of fun. Now, remember, I will be here almost every other night and then some on the Jackery channels. So, guys, always give a follow, give a like, give a live notification click, and we'll see you guys on the next show. Hope you guys have a great one. We'll see you guys later. Thank you. I appreciate that.